Hello and welcome to episode number 4 of Nioh 3. We're picking up where we were the last time. We are going to be starting at Hamamatsu Castle. This is right after the events of the Crucible. We're going to be talking to some new NPCs. We will be introduced to a new hub. And we're going to start a couple of new main quests. Some exploring. Actually, quite a bit to do in this episode. And in future episodes, I will try to stick to one zone and whatever quest happens within those zones. Okay, so we're going to speak to this young lady. Wait, where'd she go? Oh, no, we have some chests to grab first. Yes, when we were running up the stairs in the prior episode, we were moving, well, we were following her, so we were moving really fast and missing a number of chests that are hidden about in this castle. So we're going to go back down and find, I think there are 4, but I think we can only find 3. Maybe one unlocks later. I couldn't figure out how to get to the 4th one. So we found one. Where are the other ones? That's number 2. Yeah, they're hidden away in these little alcoves, and I saw one of them when I was running up this, following the new NPC. Is this it? No, I know there's one more. Maybe that's the one I can't get to, so maybe there are only 3. Let's see. As we work our way back upstairs. Oh no, here it is. This is number 3. Sorry, Grandpa. I'm destroying the stuff in your castle. Okay, so now we can speak with her. Well, actually, okay, we can't level up. All right, good. So this is where we are. We're at 9s and 8s. I'm keeping with my strategy of getting to 10s across the board.
There's something I want to give you. This is the guiding mirror. Much like the Crucianite, it is from an era long since past. The memories residing within should help you pursue the Crucianite.
Thank you, now, Tora. I don't know how to use it. Yeah, it doesn't really work that way. Once you have it in your inventory, you'll always be able to go back to this place.
So, we find ourselves here again. Maybe Kusanagi's power reacted to the mirror.
Yeah, we were here after the prologue, or during the prologue, but
The lanterns are lit. Is someone here?
Okay,
Perhaps they know something.
Nekomata,
Let us ask them.
That's what I intend to do. Anyway, we were here before, and none of these lanterns were lit, and none of these rooms were active. That was at the end of the prologue.
Well now, you don't live here, do you? Customers are rare these days. How about a look?
So this will be our new hub.
How goes your mission?
This is the blacksmith, like the previous episode. Previous games. You can forge, you can disassemble, you can do a number of things here. You can actually do your own thing in the corner behind her
Until
as
next
well.
time then. What am I doing here? Sorry, I don't remember much of anything, but there's something calming about touching these tools.
Leave the building. Right, we're going to continue to make our way around.
This is no place for the living. It is more akin to a crack in the world.
Right.
Home to the emotions and unresolved feelings of men.
It's
I
called...
saw a face I once knew. A presence not unlike a ghost, perhaps.
It's called
What a mysterious place.
the Eternal Rift.
But for now, let us return to Hamamatsu.
No, we're not doing that yet. We're going to talk everybody in here. We have a Scampus. We have a Sudama. He's our merchant. She was our blacksmith. We have some faces we've seen before. This will be a tea room later on. It's our buddy Hanzo.
I may not show it, but I do regret not being able to watch you grow and learn. Lucky for us, time is of infinite supply here. Let's review the techniques I wasn't able to teach you in the real world.
Okay, so we just picked up the Way of the Ninja Novice. We'll do all of them at the same time. There's going to be Ninja, Nioh for magic, and the Samurai. So we're going to do all three, but we have to pick up the quest first. So we talk to each of them. So maybe all of the Scampuses that we've been finding in the game end up here. This is interesting. I wasn't sure what happened to them after we pet them. Maybe they all come here afterwards. Hey, buddy.
Not only was I unable to finish your training, but I also failed to protect you. Wait, what is that life force? Lord Tackechiyo, you live yet! You must continue to hone your skills for the inevitable battles to come.
Interesting. Okay, so we've picked up the Way of the Warrior Novice. Guess that's something we can't use yet. After you interact again with, well, actually, I don't know, I think after you finish in this place, once you finish talking to all the NPCs, you will be able to come back here whenever you want. I think it's after the first quest is given to you, because well, we'll see. We'll see. So there is a shrine here, but it's not like you can fast travel to the shrine. You hit L3 to come back to this rift. So actually, I'm not. Well, I guess the shrine is here to do those kinds of things. Maybe that's why. Because I'm like, why would it be here if it's not just for fast travel? But there are other things you do at the shrine. So 1622 was the fall of Edo Castle. We're now in the 1500 timeline. We're not ready to go yet, so just chill out. I still have things to do. This will give you the full story of Nioh. So I'll probably read some of that offline.
We ought to take another look at that mirror.
Okay, I shouldn't have listened to him because it pulls us out of the rift. But we'll come right back before we actually leave the castle.
It has seen better days and has limited power left. But that mirror will surely guide you true. We should head upward. Lord Yes will be waiting. I will leave through the east gate and head northwest to Liotan Temple. That area, Nioh, belongs to my clan. I must retake it from the yokai.
Okay, so we're going to meet up with her later. For now, we need to go and talk to our grandfather. Yeah, you have titles and stuff that you can do, that you actually should do, but... Oh, I guess I'm I'm an idiot. I was assuming the door was locked that's behind her, and I guess it's not, since it's highlighted the way it's highlighted. So he's upstairs, you go through the door, and you wind around and you go up the stairs. He's at the very top of the tower, or top of the castle. So the parts of Hamamatsu that we weren't able to explore, we'll be able to explore. This is the Eternal Rift. You can see what's down here. And I'm assuming there's certain things that will unlock later. So we do have some icons that you can't really do anything with at this point, so... And as you can see, we couldn't fast travel back there even if we wanted to at this point. That's why I shouldn't have let little kitty cat talk me out of staying down there a little bit longer, but in any case, we're going to go up and talk to our grandfather. This is an example of me being like lost. Like, how do I get up there? I figured it out eventually. I can't believe I didn't edit this part out of the video. I was like, what the heck? And after spending an entire day in the Crucible, I'm still actually learning controls, and I actually am going to probably change a couple of items from a control standpoint. Like the burst item, the R2 is being used for two things simultaneously. I don't know why developers do that. And so it'll automatically switch me to samurai or switch me to ninja depending on where I am when I use the burst. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather do R2 for the burst, and then hold R2 to switch to samurai. That way, when I'm engaged in battle, I'm not constantly switching back and forth. So that's probably 2 episodes away, since I've already recorded the next episode.
Reports from Maisaka Post to the southwest have ceased. This warrants investigation.
This is another...
I trust you are up to the task. I intend to set off immediately. I will see you there.
I guess I don't have a choice, but this is another quest. And then, of course, we have our grandfather. We'll have a quest from him as well.
Tackechiyo, I've received news. Totomi's strategic foothold, Hamamatsu Castle, is being assailed by Takeda. Losing that castle would surely spell defeat. We must defend it. However, as I must prepare to face Takeda's main forces, I cannot leave Hamamatsu. I apologize, but I must ask for your assistance in my stead. Hamamatsu Castle lies in the mountains to the northeast. I'm counting on you, Tackechiyo.
You can order me to do whatever you want. I mean, really?
I've no idea how Nekomatsu's blessing came to be shared by you and I alike. But you share my lord's former name, Tackechiyo. I must ask you to conduct yourself honorably.
Nope, I'm the same person. Okay, so we picked up a couple of extra quests. They are in regions that are way above our levels. So that means doing a little bit of exploring before we go directly to those. Like one's a level 35. See, now we're in 1572. Okay, so now we can go back to after we spoke to them, we could return to the Eternal Rift. Prior to that, I was trying to figure out how to get back there, and that was why you saw me sort of stumbling around in the little area downstairs, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. Okay, so let's finish our exploration of this place. I spoke to the blacksmith.
Oh, right. I have a small favor to ask.
She's going to give us a
I've been
quest.
trying a technique I thought of, but it hasn't been going so well. I need a way to make my furnace even hotter. Lake Samaru, in my Saka. It's said to be where a god of fire is enshrined.
So we're going to head to
Heard
Lake
about
Samaru.
it? I'd wager some clue about heating up this furnace can be found there. If you don't mind, could you go and take a look?
That one is, when we look at the map, we'll see it, but I think it's a level 19 area, so we can do that one. So the order in which you should do these is really based on your level in the game at this point. At least that's the way I would play it. I mean, I would not go to a level 36 area if I'm only level 22. You're just going to end up with a lot of heartache. This guy can't figure out what he is or what he's supposed to be doing. He sort of looks like my brother from the beginning, from the prologue, but I'm not sure. All he ever says is Tackechiyo whenever you go over there. So I'm guessing that's something that will open up a little bit later. Okay, so we now have resting rights abilities. I've sort of done my homework to figure out what build I want. I am definitely going to stick to the ninja build because that's going to be better for magic. So I'll be investing heavily in magic. I'll sort of lay out where I should be once I hit level 100. And then that way you'll sort of see my logic. Now, that may require me to make some adjustments. So this is the way of the warrior novice. We're going to do this one first. Similar to what we did in the beginning of the game in the prologue, which is interesting because I'm not quite sure why we're doing it again, except we have two people. Maybe it unlocks in some ways I guess it's sort of like a second prologue, because this is a novice and next is adept and then veteran, so we still have 3 levels of this stuff to do, even though we've been doing some of this stuff already. Well, maybe because it was one-on-one, one-on-one when we did it the first time. I'm still using dual swords in most cases. Okay, I guess stronger than all the other ones. And I guess the other thing too is at this point I have stances, whereas in the beginning I did not, or I had a single stance. Now all of the stances have been unlocked. Although I remember that from the previous games, the stance management element of it took forever for me to learn. Yikes. Oh, shoot. Okay, well, my bad. I've been grappled enough by my enemies that I should know better. In the Crucible, that happened a lot. Alright, so we've completed Way of the Warrior Novice. Okay, we'll move on to... Oh, we got some nice stuff. We'll go to the Way of the Ninja, and then we'll go and talk to the Nioh guy. Or gal. She's down here as well. We haven't seen her yet, but she's down here.
Let me take a look at your progress.
Should be a little bit better since I've been playing most of the game as a ninja. So I was talking about the build, right? I have an idea of what kind of skills I need. I have an idea of what martial arts I'm going to get. In terms of skills, because I'm committed to playing as a ninja, evade, footstool jump, midair jump, shrapnel, poison shuriken, fire shuriken, those, and the Iga Jonin armor set, which I haven't seen yet. And stick with the Nikomata Guardian Spirit, since that sort of works well with magic. The talismans I'm going to end up with is Sloth, Weakness, which I already have, Carnage, Explosive Shot, Cutting Blast, and Devigorate. I use Sloth, Weakness, Devigorate in the previous games. So I need to locate those. And then I will equip those, and probably won't get all of them until later in the game. There we go. So in terms of my levels, right? I went 10 across the board, then I started putting points into intellect and magic. I'm going to switch off and add more into heart. I'm going to get heart up to 20. Keep everything the same except magic. So it'll be from this point on, heart and magic that I will be.
Our regrets. Our role has always been to support you in becoming the finest shogun you can be. If we cannot manage
She's
this,
an Nioh
how
person.
can we possibly face Lord Ieyasu? I am eager to begin training, but we mustn't neglect our preparations. Let us review our equipment.
Well, not quite sure what you want me to do.
Is your equipment in order? Then let us commence
Yeah, I guess it's
training.
fine. I actually missed that little message, but we haven't found a lot of magic-related equipment yet. And I don't want to go sort of upgrading, equipment yet, because you just find so much of it in the game. I mean, tons of it. I mean, so if you invest in upgrading one, I guarantee you 5 minutes later you're going to find new equipment. It's better. Same thing with weapons. So I think I want to wait a little bit longer before I get into that. So We're still early, very, very early game, so I think I have a little bit of time. I just need to sort of make sure I build the foundation for the
Now
build that
let
I'm
us
trying to do.
begin.
Interesting, it's going to start with these annoying flying things that we faced before. Should attack him while I have the buff active on my blades. So this little passive approach isn't going to work. That's what I mean by the R2. I mean, you can change it. I just haven't changed it yet, but I will change it. And there are a couple of those settings that I plan to change. It's that one and switching the controls to Type B. This is a PS5. It's Type A, Type B. Right now it's set to Type A. So the inputs are a little bit different and not as easy when you're using some of your martial arts and some of your skills. Type B makes it a little bit easy. So instead of holding down L while pressing triangle, versus just doing L1 triangle or something along those lines. I forget how it's going to work out, but it'll be better than what I've been doing. Because I have a feeling I'm not using a lot of the things that I've already learned, simply because I've just been stuck with using the simplest mechanics to use when fighting, when engaged in combat.
Enough of a challenge, perhaps.
Oh, it was pretty challenging. Okay, so we finished our 3 training sessions. And whenever the way of the adepts open up for warrior, samurai, warrior, ninja, and Onmyo, we'll be back to do those. Not quite sure what triggers it, whether you have to be a certain level or whether you have to find something. Awakening is something that you should definitely use because it allows you to use your magic faster. Now, when I say faster, I'm not talking about like it's noticeably faster, but it's not. You can still get killed trying to cast. So let's just be clear about that. You have some bosses and some enemies that are pretty quick around the arenas. But if you're at range, it makes it a lot easier. Okay, what are we going to do next? We are not going to Fujimata Castle right now because that's one of those higher level Futamata Castle. That's one of those higher level ones. So there's some things that we're going to do before we get to that part. We got our new main quests. We're going to clear an enemy base. And then we're going to begin the Haunting Caves. We're not going to finish the Haunting Caves because it's a fairly long and involved and very confusing cave area. That's Hamamatsu Hill. As you can see, the levels are hugely different. Hamamatsu Castle is a level 10. The hill is 24. So we have a 19 to do. Okay, so we're done with the Eternal Rift for the moment. Let's take a look at our titles. So you accumulate these points over time, and you should definitely use them. So start at the first one and just work your way through them. It's nice because it means that all the work you've been doing, the stuff that you've been doing in the game, actually gives you some real quality points and buffs that you're working towards that goes beyond just simply leveling up. So you don't have to do this every time you go to a shrine because they don't accumulate that fast. But I would say probably every time you complete, let's say 2 regions, you probably should come back and do these. I'm trying to be a bit of a completionist, but I know that I can't because there are some areas that are locked off within the lower level, the lower ranked regions that I can't do yet. There's some things I need to unlock from a skill standpoint in order to do that. So I'll just have to be patient and remember that those things are there. I'm assuming that it'd be easy to go back and travel back to the time frames that you need in order to complete those. Otherwise, it wouldn't really make sense to do it that way. So in addition to the blessings that you get from the Kodamas and from the Jizu statues, you also get these, you get the prestige from the titles. And I would certainly take advantage. They're not unlimited. As you can see, it goes from level 0 to level 9. So once you max out at 9, I'm guessing that that's it. You can't, there's no more that you can do. So along the way, we're going to try to max these out. And I think we will. I mean, I play these games. I try to do the completionist thing. It doesn't always work out. Because invariably there's an area that I despise so much I never want to go back there after completing the main quests in those particular areas. I haven't found an area like that yet. I'm not promising that there won't be one as we continue through Nioh 3, but right now I haven't found one. It's been fun, it's been exploring. The main bosses have been the most difficult. The field bosses can be challenging, and as you've seen already, I can certainly die to a field boss, but I'm not too. I wouldn't get. I don't believe, now I could be jinxing myself, that I would ever get super stuck on a field boss. There are also these masters that you'll see across the map that you can fight. They are very difficult. And in addition to that, there are these friendly NPCs that will challenge you. One is at Hamamatsu Castle, another one is at a temple somewhere. And it seems as though you can always go back and challenge them again. I guess if you go to the battle scrolls, you'd be able to fight them again. I don't know what you gain from doing that, but it looks like that's something you'll be able to do. And I could be getting it wrong, but I don't think so. I think that's what you do. Okay, so this is just the controls for the particular martial arts or the ninjutsu that you want to use. You can change them there. We have a chest here. So there's some exploring stuff that we can do. And we've unlocked Gale Spirit. No, sorry, Gale Sprint. I love Gale Sprint. So as you note, Nioh doesn't have a horse or a dragon or anything like that. So he has to rely on his feet. So Gale Sprint allows him to move through the map faster, other than obviously fast traveling. Locally, I mean, it wouldn't make sense to fast travel. So we have another campus. It's going to have us race after him, which probably is a good time to try out our Gale Sprint. There we go. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I was chasing one of these things and it actually ran up the side of a mountain, and I'm like, well, how the hell am I supposed to get up there? I don't know whether it like bugged out or what. There's no way for me to get up to where it went to. So he just sat there making his little scampus noises, and I eventually left. One thing I hate about doing these is, okay, we are there, buddy, is that you pass up so much stuff along the way that you end up having to go back where you started all of this and sort of work your way through it again. Okay, so this campus does disappear. So I think he's gone to the Eternal Rift. I hadn't remembered that. I was like, do they just go back and now they're quiet? But no, he disappears. So he must be at the Rift. So we have more samurai locks, we have some chest items, nice. So where do we start this? This is, I think we started around. Actually, we still have that chest. And we have that, I can't pronounce the thing that flies around like a kite. We have one of those at the castle. You have to, it's in a weird space. You sort of have to drop down in order to get to it. Okay, let's unlock this door. Yeah, there are going to be lots of doors, and you should do your best to unlock every single one of them. Because the worst thing is when you're trying to run back to an area and you forgot to unlock the door. You know, closing off a pathway for you. This is Tenru River. There's a gate there. I believe we can open that gate now. You see, we have some chests as well, but those chests are blocked off by these crystals that we can't break yet. It says I don't have the guardian spirit necessary to break them, so I'm not sure what that means. Whether there's a specific guardian spirit that you need, I'll figure it out eventually. But until then, we're going to continue to explore and make our way to an enemy base. I should have been crouching. You can get an assassination on them if you crouch. If you're standing up and walk up behind them, the red marker won't show. I think I mentioned before, the game is a little vertical as well. There are these areas high above on the hillside, and then there are these areas down in the valley like this. And there's going to be stuff in both those areas, so from an exploration standpoint, it isn't just about exploring the road that you're on or the pathway that you're on. It's about looking to see whether there's a way to get down below or a way to get up above the area where you are. I think that makes the game very interesting. Sorry guys, that was my dog doing her little wants attention thing. Yeah, I have to unlock kunai and unlock poison on the shuriken. I've been using the pinwheel shuriken, which is fine, but I don't think it's the best one. So I think that I will unlock some of those things. All right, spirit veins. This allows us to traverse some of those areas I just got through talking about. So if you were in some of these spaces earlier and you said, well, I can't figure out how to get from point A to point B, you'll see this sort of golden light. It'll give you a prompt to hit R1. These are spirit vein. Oops. And when you hit R1, it'll take you to the opposite side golden area. Yeah, they all have this little grab attack, but it's really telegraphed. Now, even though it's telegraphed, I managed to sort of miss the signal for some of those grab attacks. And when that happens, unfortunately, I end up dead. Or not dead, because this is not a boss. With bosses, you sort of end up dead. With the very first boss, I was getting grabbed a lot during my 20 attempts or so. And sometimes you recognize it, but it's too late. When you're going in for an attack, right? You're going in for the attack, and you're like, okay, I got this. And then all of a sudden, you see that this distortion around their hands, and then you realize, oh shoot, that's going to be a grab, and there's not much you can do about it. Yeah, you sort of always have to be on the lookout for any of these little creatures that jump out from the grass or from the hills above you. Right, we've seen these guys enough now that they shouldn't bother us too much. Okay, let's continue making our way forward here. Alright, buddy, let's fight you in a better space. Come on down here. Yeah, I don't like fighting them in the enclosed spaces. Because sometimes the camera does weird things and you really can't see the enemy. And you end up getting sort of stun locked by them. Alright, not bad. Not bad. Look, although after the Crucible, everyone seems a little bit easier than before. I suspect as we continue along to some of the higher level regions, that will change. And I am not against using the summons for some bosses. And there are some fights where you can't use them. There are these enemies in the game called masters that are spread throughout the game. There are those people, and there are a couple of folks, at least there's one person at Hamamatsu Castle, who's a friendly NPC that will challenge you. There are a couple of friendly NPCs that will challenge you. And if you go with a summons, they'll tell you, "Oh, I was looking for a solitary fight, so come back when you can," or something like that. Some dialogue that at least infers the same thing. So you can't double team them. The same thing is true with the masters, which are a little bit different from the other ones I just mentioned. The masters will show up on your map as a master icon. I've only seen 2. And I'm not sure whether they are game. They may actually be actual. I don't know. I don't know whether they're actual people or not. They're the red markers that you see on the map. And usually the red markers are people who died. The blue ones are your ones that you can summon. But these are red markers with like a stream of like white smoke moving through them. So you can distinguish them between the regular red markers. Actually didn't mean to activate that, because I really didn't need it for that fight. We fought a number of them. In the previous games, I hated fighting them because they were some of the toughest fights I ever had. In this game, they either nerfed them a little bit, so they're not as tough as they were in the previous 2 games, or I'm less intimidated by them than I was in the previous 2 games, one or the other. Yeah, I open the map a lot. Make sure I'm going in the right place, and sometimes I'll put a marker down, sometimes I won't. the game is, I guess it's described as a semi-open world game. So there's some sections of it where it's really linear, like you can only go in one particular direction. Then there are others where you have these branching paths, and it's good to explore those paths because you will likely find some pretty good loot. Or you may find the key that you need to unlock a part of the map that is where the main quest is. Because there are some areas that you can't access without a key, or you can't access from the side that you're on, things like that. Which can be frustrating, by the way. Can be very frustrating. You're like, okay, how do I get there? Or is this one of those ones that I'm locked out until later in the game when I get something that I need in order to traverse the area? It's kind of hard to know. But nevertheless, no matter what the case is, you can always come back to a particular area if you've left a chest or something that you want. You know, do clean up. I sort of decided to do some of that off screen. If I can't clear a whole region of the map, I don't have a problem coming back to it at some point. I'll do most of it, and then the parts that I'm stuck on, I'll come back to it at a later point. If it's just to grab items. So that lowers the bridge so that we can get across. And it stays down. Once you lower it, it doesn't go back up again. This is eerily quiet. This is way too quiet. So let's take that. Of course. Of course. Oops. These are really weak to fire, so if you have a fire shuriken, if you have fire arrows, or if you have the fire burst, you can usually take them out with two shots. Or you can fight them. You can melee them. You don't have to use your ninjutsu if you don't want to. We have an enemy up top. There is a section below the bridge we crossed. We'll check that out in a minute. Ouch. It's that guy up there tossing rocks at me. Wow, he should be a baseball player. That was a pretty good sinker pitch. Okay, well, I didn't take him out, so I'm gonna have to go over there and get him. Slime guys over there. What the heck? Okay. He's done. There's the slime guy, and I'm guessing there's an enemy inside that structure off to the other side as well. I'm only doing this because I have a level that I can get, so I may as well take it. Still making progress towards 10s across the board. That's the first goal. Unfortunately, it also means fighting all of these guys again. So we did fight them all again. Now we're going to make our way around. Yes, we're going to make our way around this side. Ranged combat is actually pretty fun in this game. I remember that from the previous games as well. I always thought range was fun when you can, like when you're clearing enemy camps. That was always a strategy I used in samurai and ninja games. You know, I watch people go in balls deep and just try to fight everybody, and I'm like, well, that's not really realistic. So for me, I usually find a rooftop that I can camp out on, pick a few people off. Okay, there's a Kodama in there. Let's go grab that. Hey, buddy. So grab a rooftop, take out a couple of guys, and then eventually you end up fighting, but you end up having to melee fewer of them, which I'm okay with. I don't need to fight 13 people inside of a camp. These guys are not very aware as I'm fighting. Okay, I think one of them sees me. The other one standing over there on the area just watching totally missed that. There's another dog somewhere. Okay. They're down. Where's this dog? He is snarling up a storm. He must be behind the building. Yep. Sorry, buddy. You and your puppy had to go. Okay. Let's continue our... I hear another enemy somewhere. You know, there is a mask that you can use for enemy sensing. There's one that you can use for treasure sensing as well. I don't feel like I need the enemy sensing masks. I think the treasure sensing one is a little bit better, has better utility. The enemies will generally jump out at you. So, I mean, I guess if you want to know far in advance where the enemies are, maybe that works, but they usually announce themselves if you get too close to them, so I'm not too worried about the enemies. The treasure is easy to miss. So I prefer to use the mask that's going to let me see the treasure whenever I get one. There are a bunch of those female masks, I think is what they're called. But they don't all do the same thing, so you need to be careful about which ones you get rid of if you want to get rid of them. I haven't checked to see whether or not I can actually put the mask ability on other headgear that I would be using as a ninja. That's something worth taking a look at. Like that. I guess if I had that mask on, it would it would have alerted me that they're enemies. But I don't feel like I needed to get an alert walking in that area. I'm always going to be cautious because of the way the game has gone so far. Right? We've been in enough of these particular areas to know that, oh, okay, in all likelihood, If it's too quiet, it means there's an enemy camped out somewhere nearby. And if you walk up too far, unless there's like 6 or 7 of them waiting to ambush you, because there are some areas in the game like that. There's these skeleton riflemen who, you know, will all start firing at you, which is pretty annoying. But in most of the other places, you know, you can see them coming. These guys, they were super intimidating first, but not anymore. Okay, say that, and I let him toss a firebomb at me. That's not the way. This is the way. The mechanics, you know, I've said this before, the mechanics in the game are pretty smooth. You know, the double jump is fairly smooth. I've played games where if you don't hit that second jump right at the apex, it doesn't really work well. This game is more forgiving when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, the lock-on mechanic is pretty forgiving as well. Although there's some enemies that can sort of outpace the lock-on mechanic. Sometimes these little flying insects do as well. Okay, that looks like something you should be able to interact with, but you can't.
Tackechiyo, we are too late. Massacre have been subjugated by yokai. We must do something. Come with me.
Okay, so Massacre is where we are now. This little side quest, Abundant Evil. At least we have someone to help us out. So there are 10 enemies we need to take out. That's going to be 9 real enemies, and then the real boss.
Enemies gathering in Futamata. We have to go assist the town. What can we do against
working our way there. Futamata is one of those things like level 35 areas, and so now that we are moving along in terms of our level, we can definitely get to those areas, because there are going to be other time shifts, so we don't even see the whole map yet. The part of the map we see is for this particular time period. So I'm guessing we'll always be able to switch back and forth if we want to go back to a previous time period to complete other quests and things like that. That's what I'm guessing. Otherwise, you'd be forced to complete everything before you move on to the next area, and that's not how the previous games were at all. And if that is the case, typically the game will give you a warning that if you go beyond this point, are you sure? You know, those kinds of things. I don't think that's the case in this game, though. And I promise you guys, I'm not going to spend as much time on this one as I did on Crimson Desert. I don't know how many episodes, but it likely won't be a 300-hour game. So this guy is... I think he's meant to be the final boss. I think we fought 2 others of this type of enemy. No, you know what? No, he's not the final boss. You know why I know that? Because the final boss, if you approach him before you're supposed to, he's surrounded by this this little shroud of black smoke. And you won't be able to interact with him prior to killing the other 9 people. So that's just a regular enemy that's taking a nap. So before we get to him, let's see if we can't take out some other people first. Okay, so we're out of the Dark Realm, so that's not what we want to be. We want to be in the Dark Realm. Who's tossing stuff at me? Okay, there's a yokai up on the roof over there. Look him out. Okay. 5 of 10. Making progress. Should we go ahead and take on this guy? Because I think the other enemies are on the other side of him. Okay, I didn't realize that proc fire on them as easy as it does. Interesting. I may Okay. Note to self. That may be one I want to keep on. All right. A lot less intimidating than the first time I faced them. Now, I also had help, so that may make it less intimidating. Of course not. That would be too easy. Alright, let's go up to the next level. Okay, there's an enemy right there. That would be number 7. There's number 8. Let's do this one first. Maybe we won't aggro the one that's shrouded. Okay. Very good. Oh my god, this guy. These particular enemies, this enemy type, isn't difficult. It's annoying because they flop all over the place. Well, I guess they can inhale you too. I've never let myself get close enough to be inhaled. But I guess if you stand there and let them do it, I guess they can sort of, you know, suck you in, I guess. I don't want to find out, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. All right, let's grab this. So we now have 8 of 10.
It just had to go to bring everyone back, didn't it? Oh, you'd better come back alive.
Have this item down here. You'd have to talking about the mask and detecting enemies. I guess this might be an example where you might want to switch to that particular mask to make it easy to find the enemies when you're doing one of these Dark Realm type places. So that means make sure you keep one of each type of those masks. And they're situational. You don't have to keep them on all the time. Okay, so that's number 9 up there. And the final one will be after this one. So yeah, I guess if it's that situational, you don't need to run with it on all the time. So if you're doing an exploration run, then you may want to put the one on for treasure. If you're doing one of these and you happen into an area as you're moving through, and it's an enemy camp, although most enemy camps are fairly, this is the linearity of it. They're fairly self-contained. So that's the real enemy, the final boss right there, with the shroud around him. Oh, that's one of these guys. Mr. Wolverine. Although my partner's putting some he's putting some hurt on this guy. That was one of the easier enemy base captures that we've had. Let's talk to Hondo. We've had a few that have been easy, and there's a few that don't have a main boss.
Tackechiyo, over here.
Okay, all right, let me grab this stuff.
Truly, you have my thanks. This should put an end to them for now. But yokai in such numbers must have come from around the hunting caves. A cave has been found near a beach to the southeast. It seems to be an ancient secret training area for Shikendo practitioners. The yokai that assailed Maisaka appear to have originated there. Our troops cannot remain on the roads unless we address the source of the disaster. Your abilities are most suitable for this task. Could you go investigate the hunting caves?
Okay, new quest. By the way, he is the guy who is one of the NPCs that likes to spar with us. I did spar with him and I lost the footage. I lost some of the footage. I have to see whether I have some of it. If I have some of it, I may show it and then do the battle scroll and just do it again. Very difficult fight.
The ocean isn't far from here. Just where are these things coming from?
Yeah, what I found is easier to let them get close to you and jump up and attack them that way.
Ow! Ow! Ah, there's sand in my eyes. How did that happen?
Okay. Welcome to another new enemy type. I can't believe I got that. That was purely a guess in terms of blocking that. Okay, not so difficult. Yeah, not difficult at all. But again, intimidating looking, big tornado. I guess as long as you don't stand in the middle of the tornado and try to fight it, you're good. This must be Lake Sinai. We can level up again. Hopefully there's a shrine nearby. I hear something. I don't see it. Well, I see the shrine. Let's do this. Squeeze out another level. Nice. Good progress. I don't think I'm gonna need help, so I won't summon anybody at this point. Okay. So we have crab enemies. All right, makes sense. We're close to the ocean or the sea or whatever that body of water is. Okay, we have baby crabs and we have bigger ones. Trying not to aggro its parent over there, but apparently it's okay since he ended up gone anyway. So you would think fire would do more damage. Well, maybe it is, because fire seems to be procced on it. Okay, that wasn't too bad. too shabby. Let's grab this item. Be careful around the water. You can see the drop-off point in this water. So if you go beyond that point, you will die. So you don't want to go beyond that point in the water. We're inside the caves that we're actually going to end up in. There are some watery sections, and you can die if you fall into the water. I'm guessing that that tornado guy respawned because I activated the save point. So that means we will push ever forward instead of going back. So the armor set that I'm going to be on the lookout for, either to find in the game or to actually craft, and that's not going to be until much later in the game, is something called the Iga Jonin set, which will fit with the sort of ninja magic build that I'm doing. So I'm less concerned about those kinds of things early in the game. So for me, early in the game, like now, it's all about defense. And any other little buffs that the armor set might give me, like speed, running speed, things like that. I definitely need to experiment more with some of the other things I've already unlocked, as I'm sort of getting comfortable using the move sets that I'm using now, and I'm pretty certain, ouch, that they're probably better things that I could be using at this point in the game. But it's okay. I'm willing to learn. Grab this chest. Okay, come on. There we go. Yeah, that's the thing I remember about the previous Nioh games. And the last Nioh game was like 6 or 7 years ago, so it's been a while. Is that by the time you get to the end of the game, you have such better equipment. You have committed to a particular build or play style. And so in some respects, the game gets easier. Also, you find things like sloth, devigorate, things like that helps you with the tougher enemies in the game. Really good talismans to have. I mean, you have access to boatloads of talismans, a lot of which you won't use. Some you may decide to use situationally. For me, I sort of know what my aim is, right? And I'll be on the lookout for those. And until I get to the exact setup I'm trying to aim for, I'm willing to experiment. Oh, another one of these guys. I woke him up from his little nap. Definitely need to eventually switch my shuriken to the poison version. So I can at least, in addition to regular, I keep accidentally hitting. I didn't mean to do that. That's such a waste of my guardian spirit. Yeah, so I think that I will... Oh, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Let's grab this guy while we see him. Nice. Good, another ninja lock. So you definitely find a lot of ninja and samurai, ninja locks and the samurai counterpart in this game. So while you may not get to a point where you can unlock every single thing, because some of them are tied to weapons, right? And you know, I think the game wants you to decide, and you can always reset, right? If you're using tonfas and you don't like them, you can always switch. If you're using the switchblade and you don't like it, you can switch. If you're using just one sword versus a dual katana build, you know, so you have opportunities to sort of change things if you don't like the way it's being played. But I will say that you have to give yourself an opportunity to get used to whatever the tactic is that you're using. Very early on, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna do dual blades, so dual swords as a samurai, dual katanas as a samurai, and dual swords as a ninja. I'm gonna just do it that way." And for the most part, I've been sticking to that. But I may actually try out. Okay, so we're in the haunting caves now. Now we're not likely to finish the haunting caves in this episode, so let's call this the Haunting Caves Part 1, because it's a fairly sizable cave system. I think there are 4 or 5 shrines, and there's some verticality to it. Right, there's an upper level, lower level.
Hasudama. The appearance of that huge yokai is driving business away. It seems some were unable to escape. Well, let us continue.
My body won't move. Quick, get a needle.
So this one has me in a narrow cave fighting, which is annoying. Wonder if she'll come through here. Oh well, that was a waste. That was such a waste. That was my bad. That was terrible. Okay, so she de-aggroed. Yeah, apparently my magic isn't very strong because these guys... Yeah, watch out for her grab attack. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Yeah, definitely have to, I was mentioning earlier, I need to change the layout, the controller layout, so that R2 doesn't switch me automatically from samurai to ninja and back and forth. I want to use it for the burst thingy, and then I think when you switch, if you hold R2, you then sort of switch between samurai. But if you just tap R2, it'll allow you to do the burst thingy. I'd rather do that. I wish they had done it that way at the start, instead of using the same mechanic to do two different things. But you have the option to change it, so I guess I shouldn't complain about it too much now that I'm aware of that option. As I mentioned, there is water in these caves, and so you have to be very, very careful when you're fighting these yokai close to the edge. Because if you dodge and you happen to be dodging backwards, you will dodge yourself right into a death. I'm not sure whether or not Tackechiyo will end up being able to swim later. I don't think he will. He certainly can't now, so you want to be really careful about it. And that's why I like the pinwheel shuriken, because it has a great chance of hitting the enemy again as it comes back. But I'm wondering whether or not the poison one is better. So yeah, there's a bunch of different pathways through this cave. It's a truly confusing place. And I don't know whether you can put stuff down to note where you've been already. Okay, so we have the enemy above. And if I fight enough of them, there is armor that will allow you to resist paralysis. Again, I feel like it's very situational. Yeah, I feel like it's very situational, so unless the armor has other attributes that you may want to use it for, I don't know whether you'd want to use it, because the paralysis doesn't seem to last very long. Well, it is long enough to get you killed, so I will say that. Oh, one of these guys. We fought one of these guys in the Crucible. Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, that's an example of what happens when you fall off the ledge and drown. I wasn't paying attention to where it was. I was just trying to get away from this guy and he sort of chased me over the ledge. Alright, so let's do this. Let's call out Cool Ice. Hello, Cool Ice. Alright, let's do this. Should be a little bit easier now that I have a companion. Actually, I probably didn't really need him. Now that I think about it. I don't know how to send them away once I call them. I think they're timed. They'll go away at some point. But they actually last longer than than I would think that they would last. See, in his case, paralysis lasted about 2 seconds. It wasn't very long at all. Not too bad. There's this guy again. Okay, we've already been through this section of the cave, so no surprises. Okay, cool. We have these two enemies coming up. You can also enhance your backstabs to do more damage. So with weaker enemies, the backstabs will actually kill them. With these enemies, it doesn't take away all of their health. But I think if you upgrade it, it might. And you're probably already aware of this, but you can actually call back your guardian spirit from any shrine. You don't have to go back and touch its grave if you don't want to do it that way. You can actually call them back. Okay, so this is the guy that killed me last time. Just gonna say, watch out for the grab. But the interesting thing about that attack is it almost never kills you. This little guy is very aggravating me. Again, using my guardian spirit when I didn't need to. Inside the crucible, your guardian spirit fills up really fast. Here, I don't think it fills up super fast. You know, but as you take on other enemies, you'll sort of fill up the gauge, and you figure at the end of this cave system there'll be a real boss, not just a field boss. As you can see, this place is huge. We have another level that we can get. So hopefully we'll get to another shrine and we can do that.
This place is filled with those stones. I thought it was just some cave, but it looks like I hit the jackpot.
The thing about when treasure shows up on the map, you can't always tell whether it's on your level or whether it's above or below you until you get pretty close to it. And then you'll get the little arrow indicating that it's above or below. And again, and then you have to figure out how to get up above or below to get to it. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. I almost never check up. I guess if that happens enough time, I will begin to check up. Alright, where to next? Okay, I can go down. Actually, no, I guess that just takes me back around here. That's what it looks like. If I hop down, it's just going to take me back to where we were. Oh. Don't really want to be fighting. Dangerous place to be fighting. Very dangerous. Yeah, I think if I had continued walking along that same pathway, I would have ended up in the same place. So the danger of going down there wasn't really worth it for whatever little bit of XP I got from killing the crab. Hey, you found a Kodama. Yeah, these guys show up in the most obscure of places. The very first game, there was a limited number. I think there were like 40 or so that you could find in the game. I'm not sure. I feel like we've already found like 25 or 30 of them. And we're not even a quarter of the way through the game. Okay, so let's level up. Alright, we got everybody at 9. We'll start working on our 10s. Skipped ahead a little bit to go beyond where we've already been. This was a chest that we sort of passed up when we were fighting the flying guy. I just wanted to go back and get that. This little area has these slime creatures, so you have to be really, really careful about the pools of the water. It's amazing how much water damage does when someone else is using it versus when I use it. As you can see, my Guardian Spirit gauge is full again already. There's a guy up above who's throwing things at us. This good hard strike. Let's go take care of him. Okay. They're actually... there is another quest in this cave once you complete this quest. Excuse me. So so one thing that to pay attention to and watch out for is that sometimes it's related to time, right? The 1670s versus or 1620s versus the 1570s. There's that issue. But there are also sub-quests that you get from other people in the game asking you to do things. And the titles are slightly different. This is the Demon of the Haunting Cave that we're working on. And then there's another one. I think it's the Origins of the Haunting Cave. Something like that. It's very similar. It's much shorter. This is definitely, this could have been its own video. Unfortunately, I started with the post-Crucible stuff, so we're not going to be able to fit all of this into one video. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap things up very shortly, and then we will conclude this cave in the next episode. I almost fell over. Okay, so after we deal with these guys, we're going to wrap it up. My little ally disappeared. Level that I can get. I'm not sure whether I'm close to the next shrine or not. Okay. Alright, that's enough for today. Grab this little item.
I only just started my training, and yet I can already see the shadows of yokai.
You drowned? Yeah, I can understand how easy it is to do that. If you mistime your jump, you're going to fall in the water and you're going to drown. Okay, so we're going to wrap up. I want to thank you guys for joining me in episode 4 of Crimson Desert. This is the Hamamatsu episode, although there's going to be more Hamamatsu stuff because that's where our base is. But I need to think of a title for episode 4. Anyway, we have uploads every Tuesday and Friday until we get to the end of the game. And I am loving the game so far. I hope you guys are as well. If you do, smash the like button. Better yet, subscribe and comment. Thank you guys for joining me. This is Reg with PaxAriaGaming saying thanks a lot, and I will see you all in the next episode. All right, take care. Every Tuesday and Friday, uploads. Take care. Bye. And every once in a while, a short. All right, take care.